All right, let's talk about something super important for anyone out there running their own n8n instance. How do you actually keep your automation safe and sound? We're going to dive into a real-world security threat and build a playbook, step by step, to make sure your setup is locked down tight.
You know, the whole reason we're even talking about this is because of a post just like this one. A real user, probably a lot like you, suddenly facing this urgent security warning and trying to figure out what to do. It's that heart-pounding moment when you realize you might be vulnerable, and that's exactly what we're going to tackle head-on. So, what's causing all this panic? Well, it all comes down to something called a CVE. If you haven't heard the term, it just stands for Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. Think of it as a public library of known security weak spots, and this particular one, it's a big deal. It's a serious call to action for everyone self-hosting n8n.
And here's the thing you really need to hear. This CVE is laser-focused on self-hosted instances. So if you're running n8n on your own hardware, your own server, this is for you. The warning flare is up in the sky, and it's time to figure out exactly what's at risk.
Okay, but hold on. Before we jump into the fix, let's take just a quick step back. Why are we even in this situation? Why would you choose to self-host in the first place when there's a perfectly good cloud version? Well, it all boils down to one fundamental choice.
I mean, we all know and love n8n, right? It's that amazing digital glue that lets us connect pretty much anything to anything else and automate the heck out of our lives. But the key thing for our conversation today is where you decide to run it.
And that's the big choice, isn't it? Cloud or self-hosted? The cloud is all about convenience. It's easy mode. They manage all the complicated stuff. But self-hosting? Well, that's about control. You take the reins. You run it on your servers, which means it's your data, your security, and ultimately, your responsibility.
And that right there, that's the heart of what we're talking about today. Because that control is a classic double-edged sword. It gives you incredible power, but oh yeah, it also comes with some very real peril.
I want you to think about it like this. Your self-hosted n8n instance, it's your own personal fortress. Inside, you've got all your treasures. Your customer data, your secret credentials, your mission-critical workflows. You're the ruler of this fortress. You have total control. But that also means you're the one standing on the wall, watching for attackers. You are the guard.
So what are these fortress walls in the digital world? Well, in tech speak, we call them a security sandbox. The whole idea is to build a strong barrier that keeps the stuff you can't fully trust, like complex code in a workflow, totally separate from the systems you have to trust, like the server's operating system. It's all about containment.
And let's be real. People build these fortresses for some amazing reasons, right? You get total control over your data. It never has to leave your servers. You can bake in your own custom, high-level security. And if you're running a ton of workflows, it can be way cheaper in the long run, with zero limits on what you can do.
But, and this is a huge but, here's the peril. That vulnerability we've been talking about, that CVE, that's a giant crack in your fortress wall. It's an open invitation for an attacker to slip past your defenses and get their hands on everything you've worked so hard to protect.
Okay, so we've been talking about attackers trying to break down the gates from the outside. But what if the real danger isn't trying to get in? What if it's already inside?
Seriously, think about that for a second. What if the threat isn't an invader? What if it's an inside job? Because some of the most powerful tools you have inside your own fortress can become the most dangerous weapons in the wrong hands.
And in the world of n8n, that danger can come from some super powerful nodes. Now, to be clear, these aren't bugs, they're features. They're designed to be powerful. But if you're in a setup with multiple users and you can't trust every single one of them, these tools can be used to cause some serious damage.
Let's shine a spotlight on the two big ones. The execute command node, it does exactly what it says. It can run commands directly on your server's operating system. Terrifying, right? And the read/write files node? Yeah, that's basically giving a user the keys to your entire digital file cabinet. In the wrong hands, that's game over.
So how do we shut this down? The good news is n8n gives you a kill switch. It's an environment variable called nodes exclude. You just tell it which nodes you want to banish and poof, they're gone. It's a simple, direct way to remove those internal threats before they can ever become a problem.
All right, we've sized up the enemy, both outside the walls and inside. Now it's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work. Let's walk through the actual concrete action plan for patching that breach and making your fortress walls stronger than ever.
Job number one, without a doubt, you have to stop the bleeding. The absolute first priority is to patch that known vulnerability.
This closes the immediate hole in your defenses that attackers are actively looking for right now. Don't put this off.
And here are the magic numbers. Take a look. If your version number is older than any of the ones you see in the patched column, you are exposed. It's that simple. You need to get yourself to at least 1.120.4 or 1.121.1, or just grab the latest version to be safe. Seriously, this is your top priority.
But look, just patching the hole isn't enough. Real security is all about layers, what we call defense in depth. So once you've upgraded, run through this checklist. We already talked about blocking those risky nodes. Next, you absolutely have to lock down your environment variables. And finally, please have a solid backup plan that you've actually tested. A fortress isn't much good if you can't rebuild it after a fight.
Let's double-click on those environment variables because they're a huge deal. n8n, restrict file access to. This basically puts your file system on lockdown, only allowing access to specific, safe folders. n8n, block n val ats in node. This one's critical. It stops a workflow from snooping around and stealing your secret keys. And n8n secure cookie, a super simple toggle that adds a crucial layer of web security.
So it all comes down to this, right? When you self-host n8n, you've unlocked this incredible, almost godlike power to automate anything you can imagine. It's amazing. But that power comes with responsibility. The tools to build a truly secure fortress are right there, available to you. The only question left is, are you going to use